Hey guys, it's Alexander Dahl with Manifest Brutality once again. So I have another interview ready to go. There's about four more, and then I'm doing another one that'll be out, and then I'll probably take a month off, and then we'll get into the next wave. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and jump into this one. All right, here you go. All right, so I've got Connor on the line here. He's somebody that reached out to me about the interview series going on, and I'm going to go ahead and give him the chance to introduce himself.
Hi, I'm Connor McCarty. I'm a multi-instrumentalist from New York City. I'm in two bands right now, and I also produce my own, kind of electronic music, more or less.
Sure. So give me some background about how you first identified with music. What was it about music that kind of made you realize that you wanted to be a part of it and you wanted it in your life?
Well, so when I was real young, like 7 or 8, I had two real passions of music and movies. I really just kind of absorbed both of them, and I had dreams. I aspired to be both a rock star and a movie director. I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
so in middle school, I tried the whole movie thing and realized quickly that that was not for me. So I jumped right into music, and I didn't know how to play any instruments at the time. This was eighth grade, and my whole plan was more or less I need to surround myself by people I know who play music and I know who write music. And I had a good friend who produced music, electronic music on this program called Reason. So he
Mm-hmm.
taught me how to use Reason, and from there I started just pumping out remixes and house songs and just really anything I could do to just make some kind of rhythm and things like that. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and then moving forward from there, I eventually found some friends who I actually play with now in a band, but we started a metal band. Well, they already had started this metal band in high school, and I hopped right in. The band was called Second Vision, and I didn't really have any formal singing training. Still didn't know how to play an instrument. Could make beats on a computer, but really didn't know how to do anything. So I just jumped in and was like, "Yeah, I can sing for you guys. That's no problem." And somehow they let me in the band, and then after that, that's when I started really picking things up and really making moves. With making connections and things like that.
Sure. So you would say when you were going through school and everything that you weren't part of the traditional curriculum of choir or concert band. You were doing it mostly on your own outside of school.
Very much so. By my senior year of high school, I joined chorus. Again, still didn't know how to play an instrument, but I took music theory, and I remember my music theory teacher saying to me when I signed up for it, he's like, "This is really hard." And you don't play anything, so I don't know if you're gonna really get this. And I was like, I want to learn this, so I'm gonna do it. And I ended up passing the class, and it was one of my favorite classes in high school, so that worked out.
Awesome. So on your own, while you were working on music, like you said, you were doing remixes and stuff, using Reason to do recording and stuff. Were you also looking at getting other band members together to start playing live the stuff you were writing, or what was kind of your thought process of how to form a band at that point?
So at that point, because I was really focused on the electronic music and DJing at the time, so I really thought it was cool to not only do it on my own, but yes, I had a couple of groups of friends who also made it, and so we were constantly hooking up with each other and featuring each other on each other's songs or collaborating. And I remember I probably started 4 or 5 different electronic groups at that time.
Mm-hmm.
One was called Object Permanence. Another one was called the New York Vibe Crew, and that had anywhere between me and another member, or me and 4 other members working on the same projects and trying to produce stuff. We also started a rap group as well called the Black Market Octopodes because there was 8 of us,
Nice.
and we would just write a verse and we'd come on the song, and one of us would make a beat and be like, "Hey, I think this would be really good. Let's see if we can work something out with it." And I remember that being really fun. We wrote an anthem for my hometown, and that ended up going not viral, but everyone in my hometown saw it, and we were locally famous for a little while, which was really funny.
Nice. That's
I
cool.
remember, yeah. So those were really good times.
Awesome. So, post high school, once you kind of got out into the world, what was kind of your formative process of looking at how to participate in either your local music scene or the music industry as a whole?
So post high school was a really big change for me. I tried to go to this vocational school to learn more. I wanted to learn Ableton, and thankfully they did actually teach me Ableton. But also at that time I was going through a really weird musical transition in my life because I was really getting tired of electronic music and going to see DJs. And to me it felt like every time I went to a show or anytime I played a show, it seemed like all people were waiting for was to hear that build up and the drop and then crossfade into the next song, build up, drop. And
Mm-hmm.
I was really getting very disillusioned of everything. And I kind of felt, and I was also going through my own personal stuff at the time, which was probably contributing to that. But so I just really felt lost musically, like right after high school. And I
Mm-hmm.
did that little thing for like 6 months and I got done with that. And I really wasn't making too much music at the time. I did release one EP at that point. What did I call it? I think it was called like Magic Flight or something like that. It was based off a marijuana vaporizer, but what the name of it was. But and like it was cool, but that's when I was really starting to transition. I was starting to sample live instruments and putting them into my electronic music, but I was still feeling very disillusioned. The biggest thing that changed for me was when I my friend hit me up. He goes, "Hey, come see this band Fish." And I knew
Mm-hmm.
Fish a little bit. I knew a couple of their songs, but like I didn't listen to a whole lot of rock music at the time. But I was like, "Sure, like let's give it a chance." And I saw Fish, and that was pretty much just hook, line, and sinker for me. That show,
Mm-hmm.
I got very into jam bands and things like that, and not even to say that in such a cliche way, but why that was so significant was because seeing that band is what pushed me to finally go and learn a real instrument. And a month after seeing Fish, I bought a guitar. I taught myself how to play the guitar. I then bought a banjo, taught myself that, and I mean, I just spent hours and hours in my parents' basement, just learning how to play these instruments and learning how to I mean I already had the idea of how to form a song because of producing house music and stuff, but
Mm-hmm.
now how is like how can I translate that form into now writing rock music and bluegrass music, which is now like a huge passion of mine to do. I mean I'm
Sure.
all over the map musically, but those are my bread and butter nowadays.
So would you say when you do look at performing shows, like you look more towards booking at like festivals and things like that, or do you prefer like the more conventional bar circuit? Like, what's your preferred venue?
I personally like festivals more, and I've got it pretty down now. There's a season, obviously, festival season is summertime.
Mm-hmm.
So in the wintertime, I'm always looking ahead in that sense and like trying to book my bands for summertime shows. And in the summertime, I'm booking for bars and closed venues and things like that. So it really it's funny like when we're doing the festival circuit I'm like my mind is actually more in the bar and indoor setting, and when we're doing the indoor setting my mind is in the festival setting because I'm always trying to think one season ahead so I can get
Mm-hmm.
my band in there and stuff like that. But I really love them both.
Sure.
There's definitely a different magic between the two. I prefer festivals because that allows me to be me and my band to be more improvisational.
Mm-hmm.
Those crowds tend to be more receptive to when we're taking a song and instead of playing the traditional, start to finish, we love having those improv sections in the middle where
Mm-hmm.
we might even change the key or even transition to a new song. And those crowds really feed into that, especially at festivals. But even in bar settings, you still get that if you get the right bar or you play to the crowd. Of course. I mean, I think any musician knows that.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm playing at a bar where there's a lot of people younger than me or my age, I'm thinking, all right, like let's keep it top 40s or something that they'll recognize. But then as we play to like maybe an older crowd, we're like, okay, we can hop into the 70s, 60s music, and maybe even be a little bit more experimental because they're willing to listen. And it really just depends on the crowd.
Sure, absolutely. So going forward from where you're at now, once we're able to get back out and start doing shows again, where would you like to see like your development as a musician and then also your career path take you?
Well, development as a musician, obviously, I just want to keep getting better at the instruments that I do play, and like just really just learning that craft more better. Excuse me, better. But also songwriting as well. That's something I feel in 2020 I really hit a good stride with. Is learning how to like not only just write good progressions and songs that have interesting music and melodies, but also good lyrics as well. Like, I mean, I had been writing lyrics for a long time, but I always felt they were very juvenile. Because I'm just not, I'm not always the best spoken person.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like I've gotten much better at learning how to work syllables into the melodies and coming up with different melodies that kind of not counter, but contrast the rhythm, but at
Mhm.
the same time working well together. So I want to continue to get better at that, and to continue to get better with me and my band, to like really get better at the improvisational, really reading each other, and because I'm the rhythm guitarist and lead vocalist in my jam band, so to speak, Swamp Fox. And so for me, when we hop into a jam, I'm really holding down that rhythm section, but I'm looking at my lead guitarist, I'm looking at my sax player, and I'm looking at my drummer, and I'm seeing and I'm listening and I'm watching what they're doing, and I want to continue to get better at just this dance of improv while we're in that groove, and finding the groove and staying in it.
Sure, definitely. So on the other side of things, on the production side of it, do you record and produce your own stuff, or do you look at going into studios and doing production? Like, what is your process for production?
So when it comes to electronic music, which I still make now, less like house music, more psychedelic, not really 100% sure what genre because I kind of just do whatever I want. But in that sense, I still use Ableton. I have a decent studio mic and some studio equipment that I have in my own house. And basically, yeah, what I'll do is I'll record like a loop on my guitar, or I'll find like a loop in a song that I really like, and I'll sample that, and then from there I'll build the drums, and then really I just listen to it over and over again, and I can just kind of start thinking about where can I add different layers, or what can I do here to like make this part really, pop more and things like that. So in that sense, I still produce on my own. Now I have another band, my third project, really, my third and my newest project, The Running Joke, which is a ska band. Now, in
Mhm.
that sense, I can't do that stuff on my own. So that I do have to go into a studio and hire my musicians and things like that, and
Mhm.
more or less tell them what to do. And but we're in a professional studio. I can't do that part on my own for it to at least sound as professional as I want it at this point. So I do a little half and half. It just depends on the genre.
So, what are a couple like really prominent moments, whether it's been during you playing live or going to a show or something, that have really made an impact on you regarding music that makes you feel like you want to continue doing it?
I mean, there's definitely a couple, or not a couple. There's a lot of moments, but some that really come to mind. One is a local music festival that we played. Well, we were going to play in 2020. It obviously got canceled, but we played in 2019. My band is called Mazstock, um, and that we got a 3 a.m. slot, and it was late, but it was a festival, so of course people were going to be up.
Hmm.
And the reason why that really sticks out for me is one, it was just great to meet everyone in the local scene and really starting to make a name for not only myself but for my band. But also when we went to go play, there was technical issues where it was supposed to be like kind of like a battle of the band sort of thing, but like a silent disco. Well,
Hmm.
they couldn't split the bands, so we ended up playing this set with our band, which is a 5-piece band, and the other band, which was a 4-piece band, and we literally just combined it together: two drummers, two saxophone players, three guitarists, two bassists, and didn't plan any song. We just someone yelled out D minor, and we just played D minor for like almost 2 hours. And we did, we changed the key a couple times, but it
Hmm.
was all improv. And I just loved that moment so much because it just sounded great, and the audience was really vibing to it. And granted, it was it wasn't the way it was planned,
Hmm.
but in my opinion, it almost was better because it was just one of those festival moments that like really stood out.
Yeah, definitely. That's definitely a positive way to approach a difficult situation.
Yeah. And the other real key moment for me actually did happen in 2020 as well. As I know I mentioned my ska band, and I just started that this year, and I wrote this EP, a 4-track EP, all centered and based around the pandemic. Actually, I called the EP "COVID Proof" by Quentin Quarantino. It was like a little joke because the band I call the band the Running Joke. So really, it's a comedy album,
Hmm.
but I took it very seriously. And why I'm so proud of it, it was really the first time in my life where I wrote every instrument, the drums, the horn section, the bass section. I wrote the lyrics. I think the lyrics are not only topical, but they make me laugh, and I think it was really creative. And I just put my heart and soul into this project, which is really the first time I feel like I put that much energy into a project. And I feel like, in the past I've put a lot of energy in, but this time it was just up all night writing, or up during the day in the studio, and I put all my money towards it, and it came out so great. And after I did that, I kind of told myself, okay, if I can do this, then I can make it. I can do whatever I want in the music scene.
Yeah, definitely. That's also really cool. It's always really impressive when you're able to do that and get into the nitty gritty of all the different instrumentation, the way it jives, and then also like put the topical lyrics to it as well.
Yeah, yeah.
So why don't you share some of the resources that people can go and check out the work you're doing? Whether it be like Spotify, SoundCloud, whatever you got, whatever you want to put out there. Why don't you share some links?
Yeah. So my main music project is Swamp Fox, and you can listen to us on any music platform. That's Spotify, Apple Music. We're on YouTube. We're everywhere. Other than we don't have a Bandcamp, I will say that. But we do have all the other platforms. We have one EP, four singles, and a full length album coming out hopefully at the end of this year. My other band that I just mentioned, The Running Joke, that you can also get Spotify, Apple Music, all platforms. We're also on Facebook and Instagram. And then my other project is Odopo. That's Odopo. And that is also, again, all platforms, Spotify, Apple Music. I don't have an Instagram or a Facebook for that one, though.
So I like to give the person I'm interviewing like the last word. So like a message that you kind of feel resonates with you that you kind of want to put out there and connect with people.
Um, this might sound random, but to those who will get it, will get it. Whatever you do, take care of your shoes.